See you later. Just think about that phrase for a moment, how often you say it. Completely casual, unremarkable.
Everyday words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for Kevin Gosden, saying that to his 14-year-old son, Andrew, on the morning of September 14th, 2007, well, those were the last words he ever spoke to him.
It's chilling, isn't it, that finality?
It really is. So today, we're going to look into one of the UK's most perplexing unsolved disappearances, the story of Andrew Gosden. He was, on the surface, just an ordinary English teenager who, through a series of really uncharacteristic actions, just vanished.
Yeah.
Andrew was, 14 years old, lived in Doncaster, quiet life with his parents, his sister.
Right.
Everyone described him as a real home bird. Happiest inside, playing video games, studying.
Didn't go out much without telling his parents, apparently.
Not at all. Didn't socialize loads outside school. Academically, he was really bright, part of the Young, Gifted, and Talented program.
Smart kid.
Yeah. And this detail always gets me, especially for 2007. He didn't have a working mobile phone.
Oh, right. He'd lost it. And just never seemed bothered about getting a new one.
Which is unusual for a teenager, even back then.
Definitely. And this whole picture, predictable, studious kid, it makes what happened on September 14th and him disappearing in London, of all places, just so much more unsettling.
Completely.
So our mission today, our deep dive, is to try and piece together the fragments, look at his strange actions, the missed opportunities, and just the heartbreaking questions that still surround this case. We need to delve into the facts, try to understand what possibly happened that day.
And it's that contrast, isn't it, between who he seemed to be, this stable kid with a routine, and the choices he made that morning.
Exactly.
They weren't like typical impulsive teenage acts. They seem well-planned or maybe influenced by something else entirely.
Absolutely. The shift is stark. So let's unpack that morning. It started with him waking up late, unusual for him. And apparently he was quite irritable.
Out of character already.
Yeah. Left the house at 8:05 a.m., but instead of getting his usual school bus, he went to a nearby park. Just took a detour. That detour feels significant. It's a conscious break from routine, not just skipping school, but actively going somewhere else first, buying time maybe, or just thinking.
Could be. Then, and this is crucial, at a time he knew his family would be out, he went back home.
Okay.
A neighbor's CCTV actually caught him going back in. Brief glimpse. Inside, he takes off his school uniform, puts it straight in the washing machine.
Whoa, okay, so not just skipping, but actively erasing the fact he was meant to be at school.
Seems like it. He changed into his regular clothes, picked up his wallet, his keys, and his PlayStation Portable, his PSP.
Right, the PSP.
And this feels so important he didn't take the charger for it.
That detail. Yeah. Why take the console but not the power?
Exactly. Then he leaves the house, final time, 8:30 a.m., walks towards the train station, stops at an ATM on the way, takes out 200 pounds, leaves only about 14 pounds in his account.
Cleared it out almost?
Almost. But here's another twist. He left 100 pounds in cash behind in his bedroom.
So he had access to more money, but specifically took the 200 pounds.
Yes, specific.
Right.
Calculated, maybe.
Yeah. It is. The PSP with no charger suggests he wasn't planning a long trip, or at least not one where he'd need to recharge it. And leaving cash behind, maybe the plan wasn't fully formed. Or he expected to get money somewhere else. Or even come back sooner than we think. It's ambiguous.
It really is. Then at the station, it gets even clearer in a way. He buys a one-way ticket to London.
One way.
The ticket clerk even pointed out that a return was only about £1 extra. But Andrew insisted. Just the one way.
Okay, that feels like a very strong signal. He wasn't planning on using a return ticket, at least not immediately.
Seems that way. He got on the 9:35 a.m. train, arrived in London about 2 hours later, and the last time anyone definitely saw Andrew Gosden, it was on CCTV. King's Cross Station, London, 11:05 a.m.
And after that, just gone into thin air in one of the busiest cities in the world.
It's those contradictions, the home-loving kid, the careful planning, but then the illogical bits like no charger, leaving cash. How do you even start to make sense of that?
Well, that's the absolute core of the mystery, isn't it? It's what makes it so baffling and, frankly, so hard to solve.
Yeah.
You've got these deliberate actions, the ticket, the cash, changing clothes, suggesting he meant to leave Doncaster for a while. It's not like a typical runaway, grabbing things randomly.
No, it feels thought out.
But then you have the omissions, like the charger, the cash left behind. It feels incomplete. Or maybe he was unsure. Was it purely his idea or was someone else involved? A promise made, maybe. A meeting planned.
It just raises so many questions about his state of mind.
Exactly. More questions than answers right from the start.
And those questions just piled up with what happened next, the aftermath, and some really tragic, missed chances.
Yeah.
His school did try to call his parents when he didn't show up,
Right. Standard procedure.
but they had the wrong number, a misdial. So the call never connected.
Oh, no.
His family had no idea. They thought he was upstairs in his room, playing games or something. They didn't realize he was actually missing until dinner time that evening.
And it was hours later. A huge delay.
Huge. It was only when they couldn't find him they started calling neighbors and then the police.
And in missing persons cases, especially with a child, those first few hours are just critical. Every minute counts for finding evidence, tracking movements.
And the delays just kept coming, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It took 3 whole days for the police, even after talking to the ticket seller, to confirm he'd actually gone to London.
3 days. Wow.
Yeah. Andrew's dad did say later that the one-way ticket didn't immediately seem odd to him because Andrew knew people in London he might have stayed with.
Okay, fair enough from a parent's perspective initially, perhaps.
Then you get to the really critical failures. London, as we know, is covered in CCTV. Cameras everywhere.
One of the most surveilled cities on Earth.
You'd think they'd find him on camera easily, but the police didn't start reviewing the CCTV footage until a month after he disappeared.
A month.
A month. By which time?
It's gone. Most systems overwrite footage after, 7 days, maybe 30 at the absolute maximum. That digital trail, his movements through London, just erased. Forever. It's just devastating to think about. That delay, it basically meant any chance of tracking him through the city on camera was lost.
It's a catastrophic misstep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, not unheard of. Sometimes the sheer volume of potential evidence or focusing too early on one theory means these time-sensitive leads get missed.
Yeah, apparently the police did focus quite heavily on the family initially, which,
Yeah.
Might be standard, but it diverted resources away from London, where he was last seen.
Exactly. Tunnel vision can be a real problem. You need to keep all possibilities open, especially early on. Did he meet someone? Was he running away from something or to something? Those questions needed immediate focus in London.
So, piecing it together, the big question is, why London? He'd been before, like the museums, the sites.
But always with family, right? Never alone.
Never alone. This time, he goes by himself, with this really odd mix of planning and apparent lack of planning. We know he was wearing a Slipknot t-shirt that day.
And other photos showed him in shirts for bands like Funeral for a Friend, Cradle of Filth, Him. He had posters up. Music was clearly important to him.
Yeah, for a lot of teenagers, music is huge. It's identity, it's connection. So looking at music events makes sense.
It does. And theories came up. 30 Seconds to Mars were playing in London that night, September 14th.
Okay, timing fits.
Another one was Him. They were doing an in-store signing at HMV, but that was 3 days later, on the 17th.
3 days early for a 14-year-old on his own. No charger and limited cash.
Seems a stretch, doesn't it? How would he manage for 3 days? Where would he stay?
It makes the him theory seem less likely as the main reason, maybe part of it, but not the whole plan. It highlights the risk he was taking, suggests maybe more impulsive trip, or that the concert was just a cover story for something else.
There was a third band mentioned, Six. They were playing a rescheduled gig at the Carling Academy. Apparently, a retired Met Police imaging expert thought this was plausible. Maybe he went for the gig and something bad happened.
Which leads to the darker possibilities.
Yeah. Foul play? Did he arrange to meet someone? Did he just run into the wrong person by chance? Or the really disturbing idea was he groomed online.
Right.
Could someone have promised to, say, meet him in London and bring him back home to Doncaster? That might explain the one-way ticket, leaving the charger, expecting someone else to handle the return.
It's a horrible thought, and while we have to be really clear, there is zero actual evidence of online grooming in Andrew's case.
No evidence at all.
It is, unfortunately, a known risk factor in disappearances like this. The specifics, the ticket, the charger, they could fit that kind of deceptive scenario, a false promise.
And the police did check his PST, didn't they, for any online activity?
They did. They looked for messaging apps, any communication, but Sony confirmed Andrew didn't have an account or email set up on it. So he wasn't using the PSP to chat online or arrange anything.
Another dead end. And there were so many. In the first year, apparently 122 possible sightings reported all over Britain.
Which sounds like a lot, but...
All led nowhere. Misidentifications, wishful thinking maybe, just more frustration.
It's the nature of these high-profile cases. The public genuinely wants to help, but it often creates a lot of noise that investigators have to sift through.
And then you get these really strange, specific leads that just fizzle out. Like the Leominster incident in November 2008. A man uses the police station intercom, says he has info about Andrew.
Okay.
But before anyone can properly speak to him, he just leaves. Vanishes.
That's incredibly frustrating. Why approach them then leave?
Who knows? Then later, after a BBC appeal, an anonymous letter arrives. Claims to be from the same Leominster guy. Says Andrew was seen in Shrewsbury.
But no way to verify if it's the same person or if the sighting was real?
None at all. Just another whisper. And in 2011, a sonar search of the Thames was done by a sea rescue company.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
They found a body, but it wasn't Andrew.
God, another hope raised and dashed for the family.
Just relentless. Which brings us to probably the most tantalizing and maybe heartbreaking lead of all, the Andy Rue tip in 2018.
Ah, yes, this one felt different. More specific.
It really did. Police got a tip about someone online using the name Andy Rue. This person was in a chat saying his partner left him, he needed £200 for rent, living in Lincoln.
Okay.
And he said, get this, he didn't have a bank account because he left home when he was 14.
Wow. Okay, the age matches, the sum of money needed.
But the clincher, Rue, that was Andrew Gosden's family nickname for him. Andy Rue.
That connection. The nickname, the age he left home, the specific amount of money, it's extraordinarily compelling. These aren't generic details. They're specific to Andrew's case.
It must have felt like a breakthrough. Police tried to trace Andy Rue through the website administrators.
And
bad luck. Just awful timing. The website had recently changed its systems, lost a load of old user data in the process. They couldn't identify him.
oh, devastating. The digital trail, gone again.
Andrew's family even went to Lincoln themselves, searching, hoping, but found nothing. It could just be another dead end. A really cruel coincidence, maybe.
And that just sums up the agony of these cases, doesn't it? Even the strongest leads, the ones that feel like this must be it, can just evaporate, leaving the family right back where they started in that limbo. And the lost data. It's a modern problem, these digital footprints disappearing.
You just can't imagine going through that cycle. Hope, then despair, over and over again. Andrew Gosden's disappearance is still just utterly baffling, one of the most heartbreaking cases out there.
Absolutely.
His family, they live with it every single day. His room is still kept exactly as he left it. The locks in the house haven't been changed. Just holding on to that sliver of hope he might walk back in.
It's unimaginable torment.
And his parents have said, and this is just raw, they'd prefer even a bag of bones to identify, to have some kind of closure, rather than this endless agony of just knowing nothing.
That plea for closure, even the worst kind, it just shows the depth of the pain caused by not knowing. It stops life from moving forward in a way. It's a wound that just can't heal.
This story, Andrew's story, it really hits home. How fragile things can be. The huge void left when someone just vanishes. You've heard about the investigation, the strange clues, the family's ongoing nightmare. And maybe it makes you think, how can small, seemingly out-of-character choices by a young person lead to such a deep, lasting mystery? What was going on with Andrew that day? What pressures, what thoughts, what influences that we just don't know about?
We'll likely never know for sure.
And thinking about that might change how we see, teenage independence, their vulnerability, the things they might be dealing with that aren't obvious on the surface. It's definitely a question that lingers long after you hear the facts. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the unexplained. We really appreciate you listening.
We hope to see you next time.